There's a part in your journey where you stop asking, what do people think? And you start to ask, why do I care so much? For me, honestly, that shift didn't happen overnight. Early in business, I needed approval from everybody, friends, family, customers, because deep down, I wasn't sure if I was doing the right thing. And at that moment, I didn't realize that was a normal thing. Their approval made me feel like I was on the right path, right? Like somehow whatever it is that I was doing was the right thing. And if I didn't get that approval, I felt like I was doing something wrong. And now, looking back at it, I realized it honestly just didn't matter because I needed to go through that. All the mess up, all the failed publicity, all those painful lessons. That's the only way to figure out what actually works and what doesn't. And the funny part is that most people I wanted approval from weren't even paying that much attention. People will always let you know what they think, whether it's your customers, whether it's your random people online, or even the one that are closest to you and that you love the most. But you have to learn how to step back and ask yourself, why am I doing this? Why am I putting myself through this? And why do I care so much about what other people think? And honestly, if your only answer is money, or it's to prove them wrong or something like that, kind of like what I had, you'll lose steam the moment it gets hard. And trust me, it's going to get fucking hard because your purpose has to be way deeper than that. Because when things get ugly, when your business slows down, when you lose people, when you say something that triggers other people and then they start saying things, it's honestly purpose that keeps you grounded. It's your sense of direction. With no direction, you're a lost cause. It's your purpose that keeps you grounded, not your validation. So you start to realize that people don't care about you nearly as much as you think. Sure, your family might care about what you think or how you're doing or whatever. But honestly, dude, everyone is just caught up on their own mess, right? Their life is complicated enough to honestly care about your life that much. They're caught up in their worries, their own insecurities, their own financial problems. So I started understanding that we wouldn't care so much about how people saw us if we truly understood how little they cared in the first place. When I first started, that realization hit pretty slow. I used to equate being liked with being accepted, right? That external validation became this kind of like drug that kept me going. Like you just constantly need more. Sometimes it would get to the point where you would get, validation, you would get praise from people, right? Whether it's strangers or, loved ones or whatever. And I wouldn't feel anything. And I'm like, what the hell? So exactly like a drug. It was literally like a quick dopamine hit to make me forget how lonely I actually felt and how lost I was. I wanted to be seen so badly. I didn't even realize that I was losing sight of myself and my purpose, the whole reason why I started anything in the first place. But after being in that lonely chapter, grinding, sacrificing, spending more nights in silence than in conversation, I started building results, real ones, numbers, momentum, impact, and I realized no one cared about the bad times. No one showed up to see me when I was struggling. So why would I care what they think when I start winning? And that's when it clicked. Most people don't even know what they don't know. They act out of emotion, reacting to things they don't understand. You can't take it personal. If you're doing something worth doing and you're grinding for it and you genuinely feel like that fire inside of you every single time you do it, it doesn't matter how good or bad you do it. People are always going to have something to say. And if no one's hating, honestly, you're probably not doing anything that matters. And that might be a harsh realization, but it's the truth. This mirror stage is where you start running from yourself. You start realizing that no amount of likes, no amount of approval, no amount of money can fill that void that comes from not trusting yourself. You need to stop needing to be understood, and you need to start needing to be aligned with yourself, with your goals, with your purpose. Because there's a big difference between being liked and being respected. When you start standing on your own words, when you implement change, when you're speaking your truth, you'll find people who disagree. And that's okay. That's how you build a spine. You develop the humility to listen to smart people. And you also develop the discernment to ignore everything else. If it doesn't serve you, honestly, just tune it out, right? That doesn't mean to be disrespectful and just, not let people speak or be disrespectful, but it also means that you should take everything that anybody says with a grain of salt if you think that you have nothing to learn from them. Now, if they prove you wrong, then that's a completely different story, but that's what I would have to say about that. Now, when the criticism comes, don't run from it. If it comes from someone that I admire, I drop my ego and listen. Lifelong learners will forever want to learn from people that are ahead of them. There's no envy involved. There's no like, oh, it's not fair that you did this and I couldn't do it, or you had a handout this and this and that. No, that doesn't do anything for anybody. Drop the ego and listen closely. If it comes from someone who's just like emotional, honestly, dude, just keep it moving. There's gonna be a lot of those. Sadly, there's gonna be a lot of those in your life. And, you can't let the voice of someone who's never done what you're doing be louder than your own, right? So, for example, if you have, you have your parents that you're trying to start a business or you're trying to start something for yourself, and they tell you, no, you should do this, or, go to college, or, follow this career path, blah, 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 or, you don't know what you're doing, you're gonna go broke, whatever. If they're not the supportive kind, I'm saying, then, honestly, should you really listen to them? They've never done what you're doing. So how could they tell you what's gonna happen, right? They know you as their son. They don't know you as a worker. They don't know how hard you're willing to work for this. So don't let anybody that's not done what you've done successfully tell you how to do that thing. Cool? If you think about it, you can't fake bravery. You either do the thing scared or you don't do it at all. And that in itself is bravery. And honestly, that's okay. Being scared is okay. Feeling doubt is okay. I've felt that feeling hundreds of times, and I still feel it to this day, and I will probably feel it for the rest of my life. And something I've learned with filming with people that I look up to, talking to big clients, taking leaps that I didn't feel ready for, you understand that fear just doesn't go away, bro. It stays. You live with that fear. You just get used to doing the things while that fear is standing right next to you. It becomes like your little co-pilot. And with that, you understand that motivation is just starter fuel. It keeps you moving. But discipline discipline is what keeps the engine running when the tank's empty. And purpose is the road you're driving on, right? So again, you have motivation as the starter fuel to this rocket. And once that starter fuel is done and you need to head into the atmosphere, you have discipline. Discipline keeps it running. It's that actual gas that keeps you running. And your purpose, your mission, your goal is the trajectory that you're going on. So if you ever forget why you started, you'll find yourself running in circles, chasing applause instead of progress. I've had seasons where I pushed way too hard. I would wake up, work, go to the gym, sleep, and repeat. Sometimes I wouldn't even eat, maybe just once a day. And it all just felt like a loop, dude. It was horrible. It got to the point where I crashed and I was basically running on fumes, barely sleeping, didn't take no breaks. And I was telling myself, just one more, just do it again. One more job, one more edit, one more call, one more sale, and we'll go to bed. And honestly, everything inside of me just cried, it screamed, telling me to stop. But I didn't, I ignored it. And after a while of completely burning out, I took 2 days off. I sat in silence, and then I came back sharper. That was literally it, right? Because even in exhaustion, there's a voice inside that was telling me, you've come too far to quit now, right? If you were to quit right now while you're burnt out, what the fuck was the point of doing everything that you did? What was the point of missing all those weekends? What was the point of investing all that money? What was the point of pushing so hard to the point of failure if you're just gonna quit right now, right? What the hell is the point? So that's when I learned the real meaning of discipline. It's not just about waking up early or going to the gym every day. It's about showing up when every single part of you doesn't want to. It's about choosing future you over current you. It's about looking in the mirror today and saying, I'll take the pain. I'll shoulder that. I'll take care of it today so that tomorrow me doesn't have to. That's the mirror stage. It's raw, uncomfortable, but it's real. You start to see your future self more clearly. That version of you that's confident, resilient, the leader that people can rely on, the one who doesn't act out of emotion, but rather controls it, and the one who's built, $1 million businesses and a media empire, but meanwhile stayed humble, stayed grounded, and stayed faithful. That's the goal. That's who I'm building for. That's who I work for. That future version of myself. Every system I've built, every late night, every episode, every lift I do in the gym, it's all an investment for him. Future me. Not me right now, not me in the past, me in the future. And honestly, if future me could talk to me right now, I think, and I'm positive that he would say, keep going, do better. Take care of yourself. Don't burn out trying to prove something to yourself or to others. You've got this. Just get the work done. So that's what I remind myself when the noise gets way too loud. Some people just won't get it, and that's okay. Not everyone's supposed to. If everyone could do it, everybody would do it. But most people can't. And that's what makes this journey special, because it tests your grit, your patience, your ability to work alone when it's easier to fit in. The mirror stage isn't about proving others wrong. It's about proving yourself right. It's about standing in front of your reflection, looking yourself in the mirror and saying, I'm not there yet, but I am one step closer to him. I am becoming him. And that's more than enough. When I look back at it all, the lonely chapter taught me how to be with myself, and it stripped away everything and everybody that I thought I needed until the only voice that was left was mine. And like I've said before, the silence, bro, absolutely brutal, but it was also the foundation that was needed. It's where I learned that solitude isn't punishment, it's more of preparation. It's that fire that forges you quietly when no one is watching, when no one claps. And then came this mirror stage that I'm telling you guys about. The moment when you finally face yourself after all that silence, no filters, no audience, no pretending, just the truth. And that's when you start to realize that most people don't care, and honestly, that is a gift. Because once you stop living for other people's approval, you start living for your own purpose. You stop trying to impress, and you start trying to improve. You stop chasing the world's applause. You start chasing your own standard. The lonely chapter built your strength. The mirror stage built your conviction. And together, they show you what's real. That it's never been about being liked. It's always been about being whole, becoming your whole true self. So wherever you are right now, in the quiet, in the grind, in the reflection, don't rush through it. Don't do what I've done. Don't rush it. You're exactly where you need to be. So sit in it and let it marinate a little bit, because this is where the real work happens. Not in the noise, not in the spotlight, but right here, when it's just you and the mirror. Thank you so much for listening and for watching. It really does mean the world to us, and we really appreciate every single one of you who sticks around all the way until the end. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, leave us a review on the podcast platform. It really does help us grow. And until next time, see you guys.